Hello everyone, my name is Ayan and welcome to my channel. This is actually my first video, so I just want to tell you what I'm planning to do on this channel. What is the plan? Why am I doing this? Well, the main reason is I want to share my experiences on the spiritual path. So I've been interested in spirituality for quite some time now. I've been on some retreats. I'm regularly doing meditation. So I thought I will just share sometimes the insights that I get, um, and maybe someone out there will find them useful. Maybe someone is also on a spiritual path and maybe feeling stuck sometimes, looking for some guidance. Um, for someone who's been through some similar experiences. So that is mainly the number one goal here. Okay, so let's jump straight into it. Today I want to talk about internal resistance and acceptance, the difference between resistance and acceptance, and some confusions that may arise on this subject. The reason why I want to talk about this thing in particular is because I realized that um, until very recently, I had some confusions myself. Like almost any spiritual teaching or teacher that you come across will tell you that you need to accept, you need to learn to accept, be more compassionate, let go of resistance. And it all sounds very good, but how to actually do that? What if we can't sometimes let go, right? So that was a sticking point for me. And until recently, I didn't really know how to deal with those situations where I know that I have to let go, but I can't let go, right? So let me give you an example. Sometimes we get emotions, negative emotions, that, like, let's say anxiety, for example. We get anxious. I get anxious all the time. I'm sure many of you do too. So, what happens with anxiety, usually when it comes up, the natural tendency of the mind, that's how we are conditioned, is to push it down, right? Resist the feeling, ignore it, pretend it's not there. And there are several ways that people push it down. It could be by distracting oneself, like maybe watching a movie or going for a walk, talking to a friend. Or some people take substances, alcohol, drugs. Um, and there's also another way, and that's what I used to do. That is, when the anxiety comes up, I tell myself, I try to convince myself that I shouldn't be feeling this feeling, right? I shouldn't be feeling anxious. Now, all these things, they suppress the emotion. Let's focus on the last one. Now, why was I thinking that I shouldn't have anxiety? Well, because probably since I'm doing meditation regularly and I've been trying to study my mind for quite some time, I had this idea that I shouldn't be getting these negative emotions anymore, right? That's not for me. I'm too spiritual for this stuff, you know, so I shouldn't be getting them. And what it does, it actually creates another negative emotion on top of anxiety. So when the anxiety rises up, and then I try to push it down by convincing myself that I shouldn't be having this emotion, it also creates shame, another very destructive emotion that tells me, oh, see, you're not good enough. You've been doing all this practice and you're still getting anxious. There's something wrong with you. Give up. You're not worthy, and all that kind of stuff. You all know that voice, right? So uh, that all stems from not accepting the emotion. Now, what I try to do these days is when the anxiety rises up, I say, well, okay, there's anxiety, and there is literally nothing I can do right now uh, in order not to feel anxious. I mean, I can, but that'll make things even worse, right? So the anxiety won't go away if you try to push it down. And that goes for any emotion. I'm just giving anxiety as an example. Okay, so now the emotion comes up, and I say, well, I'm feeling anxious right now. And there's immediately relief in me because now I am honest with myself. There's more dignity to it, you know. It's like, yes, I'm not running away anymore from this. I've been running away all my life, but now I decide to stay with it. And immediately I feel better. The reason why I feel better is because before, this anxiety was being blocked by my subconscious resistance. You know, the way I told myself I shouldn't be feeling it, I try to push it down. So, anxiety, which is an emotion is an energy form. Any emotion wants to flow, it wants to move, right? That's what the word emotion actually means. Now, when I push it down, I don't allow this emotion to move. So it gets stuck, and it gets stuck and accumulated. You know, it's like sweeping the dust under the sofa instead of actually getting rid of the dust. What it does, it just, the dust will get accumulated, and sooner or later, you'll have to deal with it anyway. And by the time you have to deal with it, usually the pile will be much bigger. So that's exactly what happens with our emotions. Okay, so that's all good. The emotion comes up. I just say, well, there is anxiety or there is frustration. That's fine. It's normal. That's how I've been conditioned. So I can just sit with it. I can watch it, right? And it doesn't have to be very long. It can be just 10 seconds, 15 seconds. But even in those short period of time, you're already reconditioning your mind to be more comfortable with the negative emotion. And over time, this negative emotion will lose energy. Every time you make the emotion conscious, it loses its energy. Okay? Um, Now, there is another subject here. What if I cannot accept the emotion? And there are many emotions in us that we actually cannot accept. Even if we try to accept, even if we say, oh, well, there is this and that, there's fear, we can't accept it. And the reason is that those emotions are very deeply embedded in our psyche. It could be childhood trauma or maybe some recent trauma. Maybe someone broke up with you, or you got divorced, or someone close to you died. So those things are quite generate very deep trauma in us. Now, with those things, when they come up, it's almost impossible to say, okay, well, I'll sit with it. Well, that's why we've been resisting them in the first place. They are very painful. Now, how to deal with those emotions? And this is where I would get stuck in the past. So the very painful, deep, painful emotion comes up, and I say, okay, well, this is this emotion. I try to be with it. No, but then I see that I can't be with it because there is resistance. The resistance is attached to this emotion. Okay, so I've been doing it for so long that resistance is now part of this pattern. That I can't let go of the emotion unless I also let go of the resistance, which means I don't resist the fact that I am resisting. Okay, so this is what I learned recently is that some emotions are very difficult to deal with at this moment. Maybe in the future they will get easier, but right now I cannot accept them. Okay, and that made my life much easier because now I realize that there are emotions in me that I cannot let go of, and there is no shame in it. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me. It's just some emotions are really very challenging. Okay, And if you are experiencing those emotions, you may not even be aware of those emotions. So the thing with them is that they happened so long ago and they were so painful that you've built several layers of resistance on top of them just to keep it down. So you may or may not be aware of what the underlying emotion is even. You know, there are so many layers of resistance. So the way you work with these is you go layer by layer, right? So if you feel that there is resistance and you can't not resist, then accept that there is resistance. And that in turn will also create space around the resistance, the very top layer of resistance. So you start working with that. Over time, that will go away, and you can work maybe with a deeper layer of resistance. Okay, and you go like this until you reach the very bottom of the emotion. But if you feel stuck, again, don't blame yourself. It's a challenging emotion. Just accept that right now you can't deal with it. Okay? There's absolutely no shame in it. That's completely fine. Okay, so these are my thoughts on internal resistance and acceptance. And if you found this video useful, please spread the word. And I'll talk to you all very soon.